just want to give a warm welcome to all of our listeners. This has been a project that has been
listeners.
All of our listeners.
We're in high spirits now.
This project has been a decade in the making. When I think back to the origins of the People's Podcast, I think it's something beautiful to bring three ignorant people together.
Hey.
To enlighten the world about their miseries. And that's the intro for the first ever podcast.
Cue the music. All right, so we're here today to talk about strength mindsets.
It smells terrible. What does that smell?
Why are you sniffing the pop?
Maybe it's me. I think it might be me. It's been a long night.
All right,
Strength.
Carson, what do you think about strength mindsets? What comes
Okay.
to mind when you think about that word?
Just sticking to your guns, you know?
Oh, guns.
Topical, alright.
A segue. No, when I think about growth mindset, though, I think about all these kids that they go to class and their professors are like, I think you guys need to improve. You need to engage with the learning mindset. And you know what? I think they use the growth mindset as an excuse. What do you guys think?
I do too. I think that having a growth mindset is something that we all have.
Mm-hmm.
And that I think that when you couple that with having a strength mindset, when you're you just stick to your guns and what you're good with, and when somebody tries to tell you to improve on something, you just tell them screw off. And I'm good at what I'm good at. That's what is good.
Yeah. I mean...
Just kind of having disrespect for superior people. Kind of just
You know what though? Have you ever heard of a 3-year-old that doesn't have a growth mindset? You don't even have a choice in the matter. You're a sponge. You just soak it all up. You know what we need to be teaching kids? Not to grow. You need to embrace
we need
the
to
rare
stunt
time.
their growth.
What would that do for society?
Hey, let's keep this micro, not macro. Okay, buddy.
This is gonna be
let's
a
not
micro
get into
podcast.
these philosophical big questions. Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's a good topic. You know, if we told kids to just stick with what they're good at, what would society look like?
We already specialize a lot, but that would just be more specializing.
So if you're just bad at soccer, don't play soccer.
Right.
Wow. That is some brutal truth that deep down inside, I think every person in the world wished they had in their ear growing up.
I know.
You need people who look at you and say, "I'm sorry, son. This isn't meant to be." And I'm going to be honest with you, you could probably go ahead and spend 10,000 hours and be a quote-unquote expert, but you're still always going to lose. So maybe pick something else. You know what? If you need 10,000 hours to be able to compete with people with talent, maybe invest your time elsewhere.
Yeah.
That's a strength mindset. A strength mindset is simply a logical approach to life where you say, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? I'm going to lean into my strengths. I'm not going to lean into my weaknesses. And that's what the growth mindset does. They say, no matter what you suck at, you can get better at it. It's true, but at what cost?
You know, it's an economical way of living.
Yeah.
Strength mindset.
Yeah, it's an efficient way to live.
Yeah, I know.
But let's be fair here. What's lost in the process of the strength mindset, and what's lost in the process of the growth mindset?
Well, in the growth mindset, efficiency, like we just talked about.
Yeah.
Strength mindset, nothing.
Yeah. This guy is onto something.
And just in case you guys don't know, this panel has some extreme expertise. I'm talking at least 20 minutes of research on this topic.
Carson, what's your pet peeve?
Growth mindsets.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
All of our listeners know that.
Yeah. Listeners. Yeah. Sorry, I can't.
I respect our listeners. If you're listening to this podcast, you're here for the truth, and you're not going to hear that everywhere. But this is 100% undeniably zero fake news, the most accurate source of information probably on the interweb as we know it.
Yeah. I mean, What kind of people do podcasts?
And not people like us, that's for sure.
I know.
I mean,
So,
we're just three dudes in a room. Like,
Yeah.
we're definitely alone in that.
But if we were in a garage, we would be podcast people.
Yeah, we're not in a garage right now. We're in a large canvassed room.
Yeah.
And we don't claim to not be experts. Like when we say something,
No, we are experts.
when we claim something, we say it with 100% authenticity.
I wouldn't even call it
and-
claim. It's just truth.
Yeah, it's true.
Straight
Yeah,
out of the
I'm
box.
It's like we know everything we're talking about. And it's like in other podcasts, people are always like, I'm not an expert in this, but... And then they spout off for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Or the Band-Aid effect. They bring on another quote-unquote expert who's usually less than eloquent, and then but they have experience. But we're not going to do that here. We don't believe in primary interviews. We know the truth lies within ourselves.
Okay, let's think about this. Do any of us disagree on strength mindsets?
No.
So we're not going to bring any growth mindset people on here because they're just...
Wrong.
Yeah.
I don't want to tear
You
them
don't
to
have the
shreds.
truth.
That's too much.
We're all enlightened.
The problem is if we brought someone out with the growth mindset, they'd be too willing to learn. And that's not good. Like, in the process of them accepting the strength mindset, they'd be engaging in a growth mindset. And we can't be having that.
What do you think about the possibility of having everybody with a growth mindset grow into... Like, where are they growing towards? Is there a possibility to, like, just grow into be worse?
Are you just flattening yourself out into a thin little spindly flake?
It's like you know, like the bell curve distribution.
Yeah.
You're right on the backside of that distribution for everything that you do. Like, strength mindset, we want to get you on the front end of that distribution, and we're just not going to mess with the other things.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't they teaching this stuff to kids?
It's a shame.
I don't know.
Anyways, perhaps this would be an excellent time for a segue.
All right.
Yep.
Well, so let's take a little like a roundabout. Back to society.
Yes.
What would society look like
We live in a society.
if the shoe hit George Bush?
The shoe?
You know the shoe.
No.
No, I don't.
I don't know the shoe.
Let's hear this.
When someone threw a shoe at George Bush.
Oh my lances.
Don't remember
Is
this.
it a sharp shoe?
I mean, it was probably
Was
a
it
shoe, I
wingtip?
imagine.
Wingtip shoe?
I mean, it's a low quality video. It's hard
Was
to
it
tell.
over $100?
No, I don't think so.
So what happened? Somebody just threw a shoe at him?
Yeah.
What do you mean by your question?
He must have had a growth mindset if he didn't kill him, because that means he's got a weak arm. So, he's in the wrong business. Shouldn't be throwing shoes at people. Like, your arm's weak, man. Find something else.
Do you think that instead of presidential debates, we should just have president nominees participate in a series of events?
Nice.
And then whoever, like, wins, and whoever, like, it's just a process of elimination, like, everybody else dies, and then, like,
Oh,
the president wins?
I was about to say it's like the Hunger Games, except no one dies, but then you went ahead and said they die anyways.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Hunger Games, but...
Oh,
Yeah.
probably one of
Same.
the... Oh, gosh. Okay, sorry, side rant.
No, let's not get into this.
They never have to make any hard decisions. Oh, no. We all have to kill each other, and conveniently, there's people that are formed into factions where one side's evil and one side's good. You know what would have been interesting in that movie? If the good people actually had to kill good people. But no. Nope, there was just convenient evil faction, good faction, no hard decisions that ever actually had to be made.
Mm-hmm.
Someone needs to make a Hunger Games where they actually have to make hard decisions.
Battle Royale. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Back to the shoe and George W. Bush.
Oh.
Yeah.
George Bush or George W. Bush?
George W. Wait. George H.W.? No. The younger one.
That's George W.
George W., yeah.
That's kind of a sick name. I've never thought
George
about it.
W.?
George W.
What do you think the W stands for?
Winner.
Winter Bush.
A winter bush. You know what's weird to think about is at some point in his life he was called Mr. Bush, but we only think of him as President Bush. But Mr. Bush is kind of a rough name. When we really think about it, it's kind of rough.
Yeah.
So Carter,
Yeah.
I have a story for you.
Okay.
came in here the other day.
This room.
Yeah, and Dakota was just sitting on the couch
Sure.
watching a movie. I asked him what movie it was. He said he had no clue. And then I was like, oh, okay. And I left. So this got me thinking. Would you watch a movie if you didn't know what it was?
I have another story for you. I walked into this very room that very night, and there was this movie on the screen. And I sat down. I had no idea what the movie was. But I did know it was falling into the category of cliches. So I sat there entertained, despite not knowing the title, despite not seeing the first hour. And I finished watching that movie with Dakota. And I'm disappointed that I did.
You know, something that I've noticed is that it's harder to get into a movie later with older movies. Like movies that were made in like the 40s, 50s,
Like the Hidden
60s.
Fortress.
Like Hidden Fortress, like I came down
Kurosawa.
and I was like, I have no clue what's going to happen. I'm not even going to try. But like some like movie that's been made recently, I feel like I could just hop in and watch it.
Yeah.
But so do you think that that's like has to do with like plot changing over time?
I think it's to do with scale. Like with the Hidden Fortress, it's about a very small group and very minute details.
Yep.
You know, like how did these guys find this one dude? How did this dude like command these guys? But with like large movies like Lord of the Rings or any Marvel movie, you can kind of piece it together just based on like how a society functions.
Yeah.
No, I think like action and like violence and all that plays a role into
Yeah.
it too, because it's kind of like draws you in.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
it's like-
movies are too lean now. As in, like, everything has to have a purpose.
Yeah.
Which is, like, I agree, but, like, apparently you have to have literally every moment means something. Which that's not to say these other movies, every scene does. It feels like the scene has like meaning, but then like the micro scenes, they're not as like slim. But I think that's okay. It just takes more patience. Doesn't mean it's less significant.
Well,
So I think we just have less patience now.
yeah, I think that's true, and I think also it's like it has to go by set. Like in a Marvel movie, like you know that this character can't die because another movie's going to come out with them in or whatever.
Mhm.
So like you can deduct that off in your mind, and I think that that's like makes the movie worse because you have this. You can say like, oh, this isn't going to happen. So it like takes away the suspension of disbelief in a way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you're like, you can't just get into the story.
So would we really watch the plots if, like, let's say we're watching Iron Man and 40 minutes in the movie he just gets killed and then it just cuts to credits? Like, we're here for the mythological story because, like, that's been what we've been doing for thousands of years. So the realist in us at times wants to rebel, but also we don't, or else we wouldn't show up and watch the same kind of set of narratives over and over again in different forms.
I kind of just blanked out while you were talking just then, but that's okay. It sounded good.
It sounded
just like
good.
everything else we say.
Yeah, no,
Exactly,
it sounded
yeah.
good. Let me like summarize this quicker. All right, it'd be like if you're like, you know what, that pizza in the oven, I wish pizzas were fundamentally different, and like there's a part of you that wanted to rebel against pizza culture, but the truth is, like, you keep coming back and you keep having that same pizza that's made of like the three main ingredients, you know, cheese, flour, tomato. Like, you keep doing that. So, do you really want the change? Are you really willing to make the sacrifices to have the change? I'm not sure I'm buying it.
All right, I think that's our first commercial break. We have a word from our sponsor, Law Dog.
One moment, please. We're rotating the mic.
Oh, yeah. Hi. Yeah. Hey, we paid you for that, or you're paying us for this.
Say something, Logan.
I don't know what to say.
What do you want? Sell me this pencil.
What pencil? Pencil. All right, and back to the real
Yeah, we just want to
conversation.
thank our sponsor. He's just excellent Patreon. This podcast would be possible without him, but it definitely enhances the experience. I'm on a really comfy couch right now, so yeah, that's all I got.
So yeah, if you can leave a review for us, just in the comments, and I would really appreciate it. It would get us exposed to other
Huge
listeners.
exposure.
Yeah.
Huge exposure.
Yeah, or just if you put up a bad review, we'll just delete it. So
We're
just
all
make
about
sure you put up
censorship.
a 5-star review.
Censorship is an
Or
important
else
part
we
of
don't
society.
care about you.
We want you to engage in mass delusion with us.
So yeah, thanks.
Karsten, final words.
It's been good.
Next week's topics will be ranging from beavers and their
Marxism.
negative effects on lake culture, as well as Marxism. So stick around for that. There might be something about Jay Barnes in there, and maybe a little bit of relationship advice for all of you somewhat single people out there. And with that, as we like to say here on the People's Podcast,
It's been the People's Podcast.
All right, stay strong. Stay
Stay
strength
strong.
mindset. Strength mindsets.